All right, it's time for another rapid reaction. I got a new crew here with Tyler Thompson joining us from Nashville. We got Luckett in Louisville. Jack is at KS Bar. Nick Roush might be popping in at some point, and I'm Drew Franklin, and I barely have a voice after Nashville, but I'm going to try to get us through this. We're here to react to the NCAA Tournament draw, where Kentucky is a number 3 seed heading to Milwaukee to play Troy. Houston, goodness, lose my mind. Houston is the one potential run-in with Tennessee in the second weekend in Indianapolis, a city we don't like. There's a ton to discuss. Tyler, I'll start to you. What's your just initial first thoughts of the draw as I try to get my voice here together and get focused after I butchered the bracket there?
It happens. After a weekend in Nashville, you lose your voice. It's totally natural, totally expected. I don't hate the draw, actually. I think Kentucky's got a pretty navigable path to the second weekend, which is, what we want. We could have a potential reunion with Orlando Antigua in the second round at Illinois. That could be kind of fun. I'll be curious to see who wins that play-in game between Texas and Xavier. We know all about Texas. That brings the SEC's total of teams to 14, which is a new record. I was happy to see that. If Kentucky can get to the second weekend, they've got Tennessee waiting. We always talk about hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. Obviously, Alabama disproved that. So how do we feel about Tennessee versus Kentucky in Indianapolis?
Indianapolis is definitely a cursed city. We'll focus on that in a minute. But Jack, you were actually with the team when they got to see the draw. What was the crowd like there? It looked like maybe at least Trent Noah was even in the building.
Trent Noah was not. We got an update from Pope, said that he had a 24-hour bug, so that is something to slightly monitor. He didn't make it sound like there was any real concern there. But yeah, it was different, fun, a lot of rich people there kind of catering to the boosters and saying, hey, you guys paid a lot of the bills for us this year, so you get to be rewarded by seeing the team very first as they hear the draw. There was kind of a moment where BYU was up on the board and the panel said, speaking of great offenses, and the 3 seed was sitting there waiting and they're like, oh man, and they kind of got giddy for a second. Ended up not being Kentucky, so that it was kind of a funny moment. We get some other Lamont Butler, I think, during was seeing the second round matchup. The panel was talking about potential Kentucky versus Tennessee. They said Tennessee would win that one, and Lamont kind of did a okay, all right, cool. So some cool kind of on-site stuff there, but yeah, cool. It was pretty cool. The team seemed very excited about the matchup. Mark Pope. Off the top of his brain started listing stats for Troy, saying they're number 7 in the country in this, and he had known for 12 minutes who the matchup was, and he already knew all this stuff. So it was really cool, and they definitely feel very prepared for this upcoming week up in Milwaukee.
They used to do that at the coach's house. What happened? Pope didn't want to let you all in his kitchen? It's a new tradition starting today?
Too far of a drive to Versailles, living in Horse Farm, just traffic. It just would have been a pain in the butt.
Well, Milwaukee's not too far of a draw. We'll be heading there to play Troy on Friday. Jack just said a little bit about Troy and what Mark Pope knows about him. A few stats: they're 98th in KenPom, 153rd in offense, 71st in defense. They just won the Sun Belt Tournament. They've won 6 straight games. They played Arkansas, lost by 16 in the 3rd game of the year, and lost to Houston by 20. A few stats there. Luckett, what do you think of the draw in that first round matchup with Troy, and then you can maybe meet Illinois in the next round?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like 25% of this pod, we're right at it, is SEC teams. And then you've got a lot of teams coming to Rupp Arena that we don't like very much with Tennessee and Louisville. But again, I think Kentucky, like that Illinois matchup, I don't think that's an easy matchup at all. But, you're going to have to beat a good team to get out of the first weekend. Troy looks like they play slow. We'll learn a little bit more about them. But I think for Kentucky, we were expecting 3 seed. You got a 3 seed. You're going to have to get through Tennessee, potentially get through Houston. It's going to be tough, like when you start drawing out the Final Four path. But for the first weekend, I think they got a fair shake.
If you all want to head to Milwaukee, let me tell you about our friends at SeatGeek. I should be showing the app, but I'm using my phone to record this. So, Tyler, if you have one, I don't have anything in my hand here. But go to SeatGeek for 10% off your next set of tickets using promo code KSR10. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Those are the best rated seats. Red, you can still buy them, but maybe not the best deal. But make sure you use KSR10. That is the best deal for 10% off your next tickets. Jack, any surprises around the rest of the bracket? I think the people of Louisville might be a little upset of where they landed. That's at least one that's a big talking point. USC also being a tournament team. Those seem to be the two most popular takeaways.
Yeah, some of my Louisville friends were texting me. They were very, very, very mad that they dropped. But you get a home game against the number one seed in the tournament. Like I feel like if there was ever an opportunity to, like, hey, considering the circumstances, we get to drive 55 minutes down the road and take over Rupp Arena. Like, I feel like they should be grateful for that opportunity, because if you are able to pull off the upset, then you take over as the number one seed in the region. I don't understand their gripes. I get it. You know, you're an 8 and the body of work probably deserves a little bit more, but hey, ACC is going to ACC. That all eyes are on that potential John Calipari versus Rick Pitino head-to-head. That is just must-see TV, but they have to get through Bill Self first. That we got the exhibition matchup where Arkansas won that one. It was, Kansas missed half his roster, but they got the first meeting, if you will. But that's going to be a really, really fun opening weekend, just kind of storyline to keep track of, because we all need John Calipari versus Rick Pitino in our lives as well.
That'll be a big storyline. Also a storyline we're not going to like. The last number 3 seed to lose was Kentucky just last season. So I'm sure that will be passed around a lot. Tyler, for this, we're going to assume Kentucky beats Troy. 10.5-point favorite. Ken Palm.
Cross your fingers, knock on wood.
Yeah, just for this exercise, we're going to move ahead. One game at a time in real life. We'll move ahead here, just assuming they win. What do you think about Illinois? Or maybe you could run into Texas. You got Xavier and Texas playing for their play-in game, but Texas, a familiar opponent. That was where an absolute meltdown cost Kentucky game in Austin.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could get revenge factor there with Texas. It'd be kind of nice to avenge that really disappointing loss. I think it's going to be Illinois, though. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a ton of them, but, I know Orlando Antigua's there, and a reunion of sorts after he left last year with Calipari.
Other Big Z.
Yeah, the other Big Z. That's right. Ivisich's little brother, right? He's there. That could be cool. I'm just really looking forward to the 5-12 matchup in the Midwest region. I think that's kind of interesting. We've got Clemson, who, Kentucky also lost to them, versus McNeese with Will Wade. I mean, I think that's kind of a trendy 5-12 upset pick, or at least it's going to be in my bracket. But yeah, I think it's a fun region. I think if Kentucky can get to the second weekend, which please, I mean, I feel like there's a manageable path there, and they really need to get there just to kind of get the momentum going for the Mark Pope era. I think it's interesting. You face Tennessee potentially in the Sweet 16. Kentucky's played them twice. The matchup doesn't seem to favor the Vols that much. And then maybe Houston. I mean, Houston might be my pick to win it all. It's kind of crazy. Them or Florida. Florida looked really, really good today against Tennessee. So that's my take on the Midwest region.
Jack, you've beaten Tennessee twice this year. You'll be following the team. What about that potential nightmare matchup? I think we'd all be happy that Kentucky would have won 2 games and gotten there. But of all the cities, we have terrible memories of Indianapolis, and then the possibility of going home at the hands of the Vols, playing them for a third time. What do you think about that situation?
Scares me to death. I remember vividly the last time we lost in Indianapolis. I said, I will never go to this city ever again. So I'm going to go back on my word, and we're just going to get the bad juju out. Like we got to get rid of the demons. We got to anti-KSR curse this, whatever it takes. And it does feel like if there was one team that could kind of reverse the curse and do whatever it takes to do that, going head to head against those nasty, ugly Orange Volunteers is my ideal situation. So it scares me to death. That city terrifies me. I hate everything about it. But if there's ever a time to just say, hey, screw it, let's get this nastiness off of our shoulders, let's do it against the Vols.
Hey, Drew, if we actually do it, Drew, do we finally get to have a shrimp cocktail at St. Elmo's? Because we had that reservation and we had to cancel it. So. That
is the best part of going to Indianapolis. We have the St. Peter's in Wisconsin, but the St. Elmo's, that's one of the best places in the world. Did I just see Nick Roush?
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, Jack, if you're scared, go to church. Are you scared of Rick Barnes? Wait, is Kentucky going to get held to 60
Indiana
points?
or Indianapolis, not Rick Barnes. That's why I'm saying it's ideal to get rid of the demons against that guy.
Do you know who played in the game before Kentucky lost to St. Peter's in Indianapolis? It's the Tennessee Volunteers. Like, everything's aligning because Illinois stinks. Texas, they're not beating Xavier in the first 4 in Dayton. Like, you really think that the fans aren't going to drive 45 minutes up there, pack that place, and send Trey Johnson home packing? Are we really afraid of RT? Like, come on. They stink. All those teams stink. Kentucky got a great draw. Like, this is just, I cannot wait to, and here's the other part of it too. Houston, like I'm with you, Tyler, where I was like kind of talking myself into, oh, this is the year they know how to shoot a basketball for the first time under Kelvin Sampson. But you know what? Like, you mean to tell me that Kentucky can't like score 80 points and you win that game? Like, they got a good draw. They can go to San Antonio. I don't care what it is. And I don't want to be, typically I'm as snake bit as the rest of them. But this draw, you're just like, you got to talk yourself into it because it looks beautiful. We're walking on Easy Street, going down the Yellow Brick Road to go see the Wizard on the Riverwalk in San Antonio. Like, it's not that crazy. As bad as it was against Alabama, it is not that crazy that we can see the Cats in San Antonio because the mismatches that they faced earlier in SEC play, like they're just not there. Oh, you gotta play another Tomislav? Like, ooh. This is just what we want. This is just what we want. I love it. I can't get enough of it.
Who gave Nick sugar on a Sunday night?
Can we get a little breaking news music here?
Wani na na.
The tip
7:05
time just dropped. Yeah, 7:10 p.m. Friday night, Friday, CBS, Troy versus Kentucky and Milwaukee. So there you go. We got Kevin Harlan, Dan Bonner, Stan Van Gundy, and Lauren Shahadi on the call.
Lovely.
So,
She was in Nashville this weekend. Yeah.
was she?
There you go.
Well, there you go.
That's a different.
Yeah, that's
It's not the same person, but
It's a different company.
Same name.
Different company, Nick
Potato,
Roush.
I don't even think it's the same name, but it's close.
We appreciate the effort.
I just came in here to come
Friday
in
night.
hot and talk trash about Tennessee. And also, Louisville got an 8 seed. They really got an 8 seed. Remember how much trash they've talked lately? And they got an 8 seed. They're in an 8-9 game. And if they're lucky, like not only do they get an 8-9 game, they got to play Ryan Kalkbrenner. Louisville ain't got nobody to guard. You think Noah Waterman can guard that guy? That is a horrible, horrible matchup for him. But on the flip side, if I'm Auburn, if Louisville can get past Creighton, how awful is that for Auburn? You got to play basically a true road game. I know Louisville fans, they are terrified to drive to Lexington. There's something about I-64. Like if the Governor's Cup on the line, even then they're just like, we're scared. We don't want to go there. It's really hard to drive to Lexington. So maybe they don't show up, but that should be a home game if they're able to make it to the second round to play Auburn. So I would be pretty pissed if I was Bruce Pearl, even though Louisville is bad and will probably lose to Creighton in the first round. Like that probably won't happen. But still, it's we got to point and laugh because their chests have been just puffed out. They've been walking around like they were the talk of the town. And they're in an 8-9 game. Losers.
This guy's on fire. Yeah. Man, he's on one. Luckett, I'm sure you'll be doing some gambling. We like to dabble from time to time. I know we don't know a lot about the matchup yet, but the spread's 10.5. You thinking you'll partake?
I know what Roush is going to play. He's going to play Kentucky to make the regional. Might even put his mortgage payment on it, judging off that little spiel. You know, he sounds like a guy who is on radio who has to talk himself into takes. Like that's what I felt like I was listening to. Like I think you have a political future. Mr. Roush.
I've been told that, but
is your nickname Skip?
I was firing off Rick Pitino's the greatest coach of all time takes on Saturday night. So you smell, but like from a matchup standpoint though, you don't have one of those teams where you got to go toe to toe for them. I think Kentucky could play Bama 100 times and would beat them maybe 5, if that. Like, that's just a bad matchup. Whereas Tennessee, I think if they played Tennessee 15 times, they'd beat them 13. Like, I think that's just Tennessee can't score that well. Houston, though, that's well down the road. But I also just have very little watching Illinois really crap their pants the last 6 weeks of the season. That was pretty embarrassing. Watching the Big Ten championship game in the 50s today. What sport are they playing? That's not the same one the SEC's playing. I'll tell you that.
But to answer your question, Drew, I don't know how you walk to the window and lay double digits with Kentucky based off what we've seen in the tournament here recently. Even the game they won, different coach and whatnot, but even the game they won, that Providence game was one of the uglier wins, I think, NCAA tournament wins in program history. And Mark Pope's got we still haven't seen him as, he will have success, but we haven't seen it yet. So I don't know how you lay double digits in this. To me, this feels like a get the monkey off your back spot for Kentucky. Just find a way to win, and then you're probably going to get value with them in the next 2 games from a bettor's perspective. But here right now, I would have a hard time laying that many points with them because I think there's a lot of pressure on this group to kind of get past this first round. More than would be a normal Kentucky team, and more than will be in the future once they win some games and start having success, make a second weekend in the tournament.
The number wasn't as big, Luckett, but we just got that in the SEC tournament, right? Where the Kentucky was covering, and then they kind of just freaked out down the stretch against Oklahoma and were able to squeak out with a win. So I'm kind of with you, and I feel like something similar might happen, even though I don't know. I know lots of Troy football facts. I don't know any Troy basketball facts. It's they play basketball apparently, which is news to me.
That's a start.
Yeah, I could name all of their football coaches, but not their basketball ones. So we're gonna have to do some homework this week on the Trojans.
Tyler, we're gonna do our predictions. Tyler, we're going to do our predictions tomorrow, but we're going to let you take off and get that on our website since we are a news site. You got any feeling for how the Cats are going to go? We won't hold you to it yet. We'll do that tomorrow. But how you feeling?
I feel good about Kentucky getting to the second weekend, which I think is the most important thing. The matchup with Tennessee has proven to be good for Kentucky, but a third time, we'll see if the Vols can get there, first of all. I feel pretty good about it. I like how Kentucky matches up against Tennessee. I think that it might end in the Elite Eight against possibly Houston. But either way, I think just get to the second weekend. I think that is a success. And beating Tennessee to get to the Elite Eight would be a pretty sweet way to end things. So.
All right, well, go get the news on the website. That's a pretty big deal. People are looking for it. Jack, I cut you off. You were about to add something there.
I just got a text that said from an unnamed person, "What drugs are Roush on right now?" Care to comment, Roush?
March Madness. I'm locked in, fellas, and I it's just such a great time of year. In fact, I'm kind of suffering with withdrawals right now because I don't know about you all, but I was locked in the MAC championship game last night at 9:30. It was a long day, but Louisville had lost their way, so I had to find a game elsewhere. Like, championship week it is so great. It is the perfect primer for March Madness. We're going to have an absolute blitz on Thursday and Friday. I think we even got some fun first 4 games, and I'm all in. Like, we're all in. We don't just take some naps, right? Like, this has been a big. I know you all were up late on Thursday and Friday as well. I ended up staying up late to watch the Big West too, because you know what? Why not? We only get this once a year. We can sleep whenever we want. I fell asleep with the baby today, just hanging out with the baby in the arms, because you got it. You squeeze the nap in 10 minutes, you're good to go. You can even do that in some of these, like Thursday afternoon. There's going to be a weird blowout, a funky blowout, and then you just kind of doze off in between sessions. It's going to be great. We're going to be ready to roll. I know everyone here is fired up, although I don't have the patience for Friday night at 7. Can we be honest with each other? Like, that sucks. Like, it's kind of nice that you get the extra day for Lamont Butler's shoulder to get right. The more rest, the better. They're going to have a week of rest. But I'm impatient, Drew. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be able to handle that.
Counterpoint, if last year, if you lose on a Thursday, you don't want to watch the tournament at all. So at least you get a full day going into it before the full day before the 7:10 tip. So I like the Friday night. Jack, you're heading to Milwaukee. What do you know about Milwaukee? You ever been?
I don't, but Mark Pope said that he had a bunch of go-to spots. Said there was a little custard place when he played in the NBA that it was his go-to. He said that George Karl was the only coach dumb enough to put him in the starting lineup in the NBA, and he was very grateful for his stupidity. So Pope was ready to rattle everything off. Cody Feger is from Wisconsin. That was kind of a cool little storyline as well. He gets his own little mini homecoming. I did like, there was a little whisper while we were, kind of talking, chit-chatting while we were there, that Lamont Butler was going to play in the SEC Championship if Kentucky had gotten there. So they felt unbelievably confident. They just wanted to give him a little bit more time to, relax. They paraded him. He was one of the only people that talked today, spoke to the media. It was like LaMarche. Like, this is his time to shine. Like, Mark Pope jumped on his private jet, flew across the country to Las Vegas when the transfer portal opened, and would not leave until he was committed as a Kentucky Wildcat for right now. You signed Lamont Butler for today. And he kind of took ownership of the podium, like, yep, this is my time. It's LaMarche. So I'm very excited about the confidence surrounding Lamont Butler and his status and his health and the intrigue behind that. So it's LaMarche. It's time for LaMarche. We've been waiting a very long time for this.
Jack, have you ever had spotted cow before?
I have not, but aren't all cows spotted?
No. It's beer.
What is going on?
Drew raises thumbs up for spotted cow beer, and there's fireworks behind it. That's how good this beer is. It's only sold in Wisconsin. I've never had it on draft. I'm sure it's wonderful, but the little green bottles, they rock. They're so good. You might need to bring some back for me.
I'll have 12 in your honor, and then I'll bring back 12 for you.
Ah, what a guy.
Jack, are you going to shake your curse? We don't want to look backwards too much, but you haven't had the best run of NCAA tournament since you've been working for KSR. I have never been to a second weekend working this job. I've seen one tournament win to begin with, so the odds are not in my favor. So yeah, what does a Sweet 16 look like? Is it fun? Like, do we have good times there? I do hate Indianapolis, so again, we got to do a bunch of reverse jinxes and just to get that demon away from us. I hate Indianapolis. I hate everything about it. But I hope that this season gives me a reason to love that terrible city once again. Lucky, what do you think Rupp Arena will be like for that Louisville game coming between the 8 and 9? Think it'll be a Creighton crowd. Will Creighton have the biggest home crowd of the first round of the NCAA tournament?
Well, at our little on-3 convention, as Nick Roush can say, we've learned that Creighton fans are the most friendly with our Nebraska brethren. So I'm not sure what that'll look like. I think Chucky Hepburn is from Omaha, so that's going to be like a little storyline. But just in that arena, like Auburn, Bruce Pearl, Tennessee with their orange, Louisville fans, like that, you might have to leave town, Drew. I'm a little worried about you being surrounded by all those people. You might just have to get out of town for a weekend, which I guess is good because you're going to Milwaukee. So you get out of there early before everyone gets in there.
We might have to put a cardinal tax on all food and beer at KS Bar. They're welcome to come visit and spend their money, but we might have to tax that.
Speaking of, though, the last time that Rupp Arena hosted was in 2013. Louisville and Creighton were both there. Louisville, that was... Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Louisville technically was there. The record book says they weren't. But they were there for those games, and it was fun. And I want to say that Creighton lost on a heartbreaker, like a last-second shot. So I will recommend, if you just have never been to the NCAA tournament before, you're in Lexington and you're kind of on the fence, just go. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, they beat Cincinnati at the wire. It was a close game that went down to the wire. But that's the only time I've ever been to an NCAA tournament game. I've never been. It was Creighton, Cincinnati, and then some other kind of random game. And I stumbled into tickets. So you don't have to like Louisville. You don't have to like Auburn. It'll be fun if you're in Lexington and just want to see some basketball.
Yeah, and like we said, promo code KSR10 on SeatGeek if you want to get tickets. Go to Rupp Arena. Good setup there, Nick. Jack, did you get a chance to look at Otega Oweh's face at the event today? And how's the team? We know Lamont Butler will play, but I mean Chandler, all of them were getting banged up in Nashville. Do they look like they're all ready to go?
Otega still looks like hell. To unfortunately foul on Otega away, in case you forgot. But yeah, Trent Noah, like we said, was not there, but yeah, totally clean. Some scuttlebutt about Travis Perry. We saw some tweets and things like that. Was not able to confirm that while we were there, unfortunately. So still kind of TBD on that one. I didn't get any like serious vibes from anybody that I talked to that it was anything of substance long term, especially. So that's just one that I've kind of keep in my back pocket, monitoring that situation a little bit. But beyond that, everybody looked like spirits were high, vibes were good, and I think their cats are ready to go get up to Wisconsin.
Before we sign off to go watch White Lotus and whatever you all parents have to do, Roush, I feel like I'm just looking in your eyes. I feel like you've got one more good hot take cooked up for us.
I hate
Roush just goes to the Bullitt County Illinois Pal once, and he is just on a different level.
I gotta say,
like electricity running through your veins.
I'm barely alive over here from being in Nashville all week. I can barely speak from those crowd shows. You can't even have a conversation in Nashville without yelling at those bars. So I'm dying, and you look like you are just ready to rock with some takes over there.
I went to the Mount Washington Fountain of Youth. Lucky to introduce my son to Golden Tea, and now he's hooked. He's an addict. He's ready to roll.
One of us.
But
all he was missing was the beer in the right hand.
So as much as I wanted to, like, I love the Rick Pitino renaissance. He's so full of crap. He's kindred spirit in that regard, right? So I love seeing like the celebration last night of the Big East Championship, and I'm like, they aren't the best team. It's very similar to most Rick Pitino teams. They don't have the best collection of talent, but they play well together, and they can go far in the NCAA tournament. When I was going through my, is Rick the best coach of all time? There's really only one kryptonite. And it's the funniest kryptonite ever, and it just so happened to got drawn in this tournament. Cal's going to beat Rick Pitino in the second round and go to the Sweet 16. I mean, and it's not, I don't think that's a crazy take because Arkansas can outsize Kansas, who is just the worst Kansas team I might have ever seen. Sorry, Jacob Polachek. This Kansas team stinks. I worry a little bit about Boogie Flane coming back and just wrecking everything. But if they get him back, that's another legit bona fide scorer. And you pair them with St. John's. Like, St. John's doesn't score a whole lot of points. So, like, I could totally see classic Cal versus Rick game. Rick just clams up, cannot handle the pressure. And I think it's also, like, that'll be either way, we're going to be able to get our takes off. Was it Cal or was it just Kentucky that he couldn't beat, right? Was the logo what drove him crazy? Because that was always his biggest problem at Louisville is he made that game such a big deal. He put it on a pedestal and he couldn't get out of his own dumb way right until the last day where he's flipping off Kentucky fans on the way out. So I'm going to pencil Arkansas in tentatively to the Sweet 16, thinking that Cal just has his number, and I can totally see, just the stars aligning. It would be of course, Cal goes to the first Sweet 16 for the first time in 6 years as soon as he leaves Kentucky. Like, of course he would. So that's my big spicy meatball from this bracket reveal. I kind of hope to be wrong, but at the same time, it would be really funny if Rick had to hold another one of John Calipari's L's.
Jackie's looking ahead. What about Cal, Bill Self? They got some tournament history. Had the Memphis game, Kentucky and New Orleans. Jackie, you want to make a pick for that Arkansas, Kansas right out the gate?
Oh, gosh. Kansas has just stunk it up this year. But, man, there's that revenge factor of that nonsense exhibition game that meant nothing that Arkansas fans just spent the entire – oh, man, I remember that time. They're like, we're the best team in the history. John Calipari is – I can't believe we got it. Kentucky fans are so stupid for giving us John Calipari. Like, I just remember that moment so vividly watching that exhibition game and me sitting in my chair going, damn. They did look kind of good, I'm not going to lie. And then just having it mean nothing for either side. Kansas sucks, Arkansas sucks, but, both teams having their own weirdness. I think the excitement of Cal Rick Pitino is going to give us one of those jinxies where we want that so badly, and then Bill Self takes care of business, and it's going to be Kansas versus Rick Pitino.
So it's a loser leave town match. Loser cannot use the Kansas name anymore.
Oh,
Only one
wrong.
team can have Kansas in their name after this game.
Any other non-Kentucky games you all got circled as one you want to make sure you watch on Thursday or Friday?
all of them.
UConn Oklahoma is going to be fun. I'm excited
Yeah.
for that one.
Just Hurley in general. Like, you got to have the TV on Hurley because you never know what's going to happen there. Going through
Mizzou
the
Drake is
list,
going to be very fun.
Ooh, yeah.
clash of styles. Yeah.
Yeah. Total entire clash. And then
Scott Drew versus Chris Jansen
ooh,
in the East region.
the dentist.
8-9. That's a fun 8-9 game. I know it's Chris Jans for you all in the chat. That's a little inside joke for Nick
Yeah.
Roush.
Yep. I really thought they were going to put Kentucky with BYU's pod there for a minute. Like when BYU showed up as the 6, I was hell bent on that. BYU feels like a pretty sneaky team to maybe couldn't you see them upsetting Alabama in the Sweet 16? I could see them pulling off a little run there. So
Right. Or they're like, you could see them in Elite 8 or losing first round. Like,
yeah.
anything in between. Everything feels on the table for them with that draw.
Well, tomorrow we'll all give our picks. We'll have our upsets, our champions, our Final Four. We're going to do this again. Probably go another 30 minutes tomorrow night, so stick with us. I don't know the time. We'll figure that out. But thank you for watching us tonight. Roush came in extra hot, made it a little fun there in the middle. Thanks to Tyler for joining us. We had to step away to post some news.
Happy birthday, Jim Roush. That we were celebrating. We had a little birthday for Papa Roush, Mama Roush.
That
both
explains
this
a lot.
weekend. So yeah, we were having a good time. They were in Nashville on Thursday night. They saw the Magic in Bridgestone. So we're feeling it, right? We exercised demons the last time we bought them tickets for their birthday to a game. It was to watch Kentucky play St. Peter's. So we went from that to nearly blowing a 10-point lead with 80 seconds left to Otega Owe owning Oklahoma. We're back. The Cats, they got the demons out. Parents got the demons out. And now it's nothing but wins in March.
Since we're doing birthday shout-outs, Lucky, you want to give a birthday shout-out?
Yeah, happy birthday to my son, Henry.
He's watching.
Good
He's
party,
locked in
buddy.
right now.
Yeah.
We had a good time. Had a lot of cake.
Well, thanks for joining us on a Sunday night. We'll let you all get back to your families. Go do whatever you do. Go fill out your brackets. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks to Jack, Nick, Adam, Tyler, who stopped in, and our friends at SeatGeek. Remember, promo code KSR10 for 10% off your next order. Use those to go watch the NCAA tournament. Maybe anyone but Roush's parents who seem to have bad luck. Go to SeatGeek and use that promo code. But thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Go Cats.